So while Musk is basically running the presidential transition, where exactly is the president-elect, the oldest man ever elected in the history of the republic? It was clear on the campaign trail Trump has lost a step or two, and that makes sense. He's, almost 80. Since then, he's mostly hung out and golfed at Mar-a-Lago. He did finally get out of the house yesterday for a very important event to receive an honorary Patriot of the Year award on Fox Nation. Maybe Trump doesn't have the actual energy to do the job. Maybe letting Elon Musk basically conduct diplomacy, talk to Hill lawmakers while Trump collects awards from his fans is the division of labor that Trump can handle. Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett sits on the House Oversight Committee. She also represents a district in the state of Texas, Elon Musk's new base of operations, and she joins me now. What do you make of this figure that we have never really had in the time that I've covered American politics? The richest man in the world, with no public role officially, no accountability, not Senate confirmed or anything, running a kind of off-the-book operation in the name of the president he spent $250 million to elect, who has a million conflicts and seems to be sort of calling the shots.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, I am just as lost as you are. When Elon decided that he was going to be on the trail and he was running around and jumping around on the stage and that kind of stuff, I mean, it was clear that he was fully in to make sure that he could support him. He had announced that he was going to spend millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. We didn't know that it would get all the way to $250 million. But honestly, I thought that this was really a lot more of the pay for play, right? It's the pay for play that Donald Trump has consistently offered to those oil tycoons and anybody else that had a lot of money and was willing to put it behind him. You put it behind me and I will give you something in return. So we know that he's got these federal contracts. And I just assumed that it was about that. I had no idea that he would then end up with this random position with a new randomly created organization, and now that he would be sitting and doing the diplomacy that really should be left to the president-elect of the United States.
You are in a state where, and I've heard this from multiple folks that cover Texas politics, that Musk really has the Texas Capitol quite wired. This is the Houston Chronicle writing about this, that he's betting Trump will also make most of the 20 federal investigations into his companies disappear. He probably is looking to benefit from state contracts and the 17 agencies that have generated $3 billion in revenue last year, but also that he's kind of used the Texas State House as a bit of a laboratory for accruing political influence.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the Supreme Court decision as it relates to our federal elections. Let me tell you, in the state of Texas, we have no campaign finance limits at all, right? And so what we have is a governor who has been elected more times than anybody else, because we also don't have a term limit on our governor. So we are stuck with Abbott, because every time he gets in trouble, he calls up somebody that he's going to help out, and he say, I need another $1 million. Listen, for those of you that went out and voted and thought that you were going to vote for somebody that was going to be for you, let me tell you, Trump is showing you exactly who he is for. He is for the people that put up the real dollars, not your $5 or your $2. He is for the people that put up the hundreds of millions of dollars. And I don't really know where that leaves the rest of us. I can tell you that in the state of Texas, it has not left us in a good place.
There are a number of Democrats who have either committed to working with this weird, again, off-book operation. I don't even know what to call it, Department of Government Efficiency. It's not a department. Right now, it's just a string of letters. It's just two guys. Jared Moskowitz, who's a colleague of yours in Florida, who's a Democrat, I think is working with it in some official capacity. Ro Khanna, who's a congressman from California in Silicon Valley, says he wants to get involved with it. What do you think about Democrats saying, hey, yeah, look, we should be open-minded here and maybe work with these two individuals to slash wasteful government spending?
Listen, I don't know what's happening. I mean, I do know that Jared did join this caucus, And a caucus is different from an actual committee. So I have no idea. You know, right now we don't have our committee assignments. So I don't know who's going to serve on what committee. I will tell you that they did decide that they were going to have a subcommittee on oversight for DOJ, and it is going to be led by none other than Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? So it'll be interesting to see who becomes the ranking member on that subcommittee. And when we start to talk about the committee work, then yes, that is actual work of the House. And whoever is assigned to work on oversight and assigned to that subcommittee, then they will start to do the work. But oversight in and of itself exists to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. That is our job, and we oversee every single agency, and that is what we are supposed to be doing. But what they are proposing right now from the likes of Ramaswamy, talking about getting rid of 70% of the workforce, well, let me tell you, everybody that has complained about how behind their passports were, or their Social Security checks being messed up, or their IRS checks not arriving on time, well, let me tell you, something is about to happen, and it doesn't sound like it's anything good if we are going to reduce the workforce instead of increasing it and giving them the resources that they need. And mind you, the people that claim that they were voting because they were feeling a way about the border and it being overrun, the border has been underfunded too. So I don't know how you're going to kick everybody out of this country like they are proposing to do while at the same time reducing the workforce.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas.